Origin Gents, welcome to GRX, and this is how America's F-35 made Russia's air defense useless. But channel Beyond Military. Somebody told me I should react to this one, and I see what's about. Yeah, Russia's S-300 air defense site, which is like Russia's touted as like really good one, right? Obviously, people will like debate that, but it's like Russia's one of those flagship type of defenses. So F-35 just I don't know, like deleted it or something. Yeah, it's gonna be interesting. Let's watch it. Remember, if you like my reaction, don't forget to like and subscribe so I know which type of videos to react to more. I like to watch military equipment videos. Let's just say that's the only genre I could give it, because it's all about tech in the end, right? Like whose tech is great, in which way, right? So this is about F-35s and Russia's S-300, so it's going to be interesting. Let's watch it.
300 missile system, Iran's primary anti-air defense, and a system once thought impenetrable. Yet Israel has nearly wiped them all out, using the U.S. F-35 fighter jet.
Yeah, this is insane. Like, what's going to happen? Like, how do we, test Russia's equipment versus America's equipment? Clearly not against Russia and America, because that would be catastrophic. So I guess we're going to know it through Iran and Israel. There you go. Iran having S-300 system, Israel having F-35s. Yeah, it makes sense.
It quickly became evident that the Russian-made S-300 stood little chance in battle. But even more bizarre, Israel achieved all of this without suffering a single loss. But what made the S-300 such a vital target? On October 26, 2024, as Iranian troops went to sleep for the night, more than 100 aircraft took off from secret air bases from around Israel. For those still awake that evening, they continued on business as usual at air defense sites, weapons storage facilities, and missile factories across Iran. It all seemed ordinary until Israel's secret weapon made it anything but. After traveling nearly 2,000 kilometers across Jordan, Syria, and Iraq, the Israelis struck just before dawn. Without warning, missile sites across the country simultaneously exploded. The Iranian military was in complete shock. By the time the dust had settled, they realized the damage was serious, as it took out all of their most advanced air defense systems, the S-300. The S-300s destroyed in this attack were the Russian-made S-300 PMU-2, which are the export versions of the Russian S-300 missile systems, but with slightly fewer features. These missile systems, or batteries as some call them, were built to replace...
Hold on, is that like a normal procedure the countries do, where they like export their equipment, they make it less effective than what they have? I mean, kind of makes sense when you think about it, but China did the similar thing with Pakistan as well, where they give their planes to Pakistan, where it's a different version of it, right? I'm guessing when US sells things, they're also like a previous upgrade or something, not the latest one. I don't know. I mean, it makes sense. Like, why would you give your best one to, even if your that's one is ally, right? Like, you want the best one to have you, right? Like, if some shit happens tomorrow, you want the best equipment.
Traditional missile launch sites, which, while not only difficult to set up, were completely immobile. The idea behind the S-300 was simple: precise firing and swift relocating as soon as it takes a shot. This is actually a big step forward from traditional air defense systems like Russia's own last-gen S-200, as they were often immediately detected as soon as they fired a defense missile, and their location is more or less compromised. Strategically, this would put any military at a big disadvantage. So here comes the new S-300. This system could not only set up fast enough, but also pack up and flee before the enemy could figure out where the missile came from. Even if they did, by the time they responded, the S-300 would be long gone. Speaking of the S-300, the entire system included a truck loaded with 4 missile silos, which often had supporting radar units. But what made the S-300 excel? The S-300 is a long, medium-range defense system like the Russian S-200 and can successfully defend against threats between 120 kilometers and 400 kilometers. This system was so effective in its time that the only way to beat it was to overwhelm its abilities. This meant launching attacks faster than the S-300 could reload, and only a handful of countries could do that back when Iran initiated the purchase of this system from Russia in the 90s. Therefore, on paper, it was a perfect air defense system for Iran to use against Israel, and obviously, Israel didn't like it as this system gave its enemy the one thing that Israel hates the most: a sense of security. Why, you ask? Because in Iran's favor, these systems were the perfect deterrent for Israeli airstrikes. But there was one major issue with the S-300. The defense system was designed in the 70s, with the latest modification being made over 40 years ago. Some small upgrades here and there wouldn't make this system magically on par with the latest attack systems that Israel now possessed. The world had come so far ahead in terms of missile and aircraft technology that this system was obsolete against modern threats. Did Iran foresee this? Yes. They foresaw the failure of the S-300 defense systems, but did nothing to stop it except for plans to acquire the newer S-400 series. Think about it. If you knew you had worn-out armor, would you be confident in going into a battle, or would you replace it with newer armor? With Iran's increasing...
I mean, that implies that they could have, like, just assuming things like Iran could just like, yeah, we want S-400 and somehow they can get it. Like, there are deals to be made, like, money is to be, like, invested. Like, there's many elements behind it, right? Maybe they couldn't get S-400 for reasons. I don't know. It's a pretty complex system going there. But yeah, it just kind of makes sense. Like, S-300, like, at that time, you just bluff, right? You just bluff to create some kind of, like, a power projection. But if you're just gonna bluff, like, stay at the bluff. Don't go war against a country you know have better system that can beat your S-300s. Like, that's just a problem at that point, right? I don't know. Yeah, obviously F-35s can beat S-300. Like, it's a no-brainer.
Rocket and drone attacks on Israel. A deadly Israeli response was only moments away, but the intensity with which this attack would come really shocked the world. In the past, Israel would send an F-16 or F-15 fighter jet to attack a spot or two, but these jets were old and right in spec with the S-300. Therefore, the S-300 did have some degree of success defending against these strikes. However, this time, Israel sent over 100 aircraft to attack nearly all of Iran's air defense systems and missile manufacturing sites spread across its western border. This attack was unlike the ones made before. This deadly fleet of aircraft included the fifth-generation F-35 fighter jets. The F-35 proved more than a match for the Russian S-300 defense systems. All of the jets successfully destroyed their targets and returned to Israel without a single loss and left behind a crippled Iran with...
Yeah, you would even question if S-400 or any other system can even successfully lock F-35. That's how small the radar cross-section is of F-35, right? I mean, can a radar detect F-35? Yes, it can. But can it do that with accuracy where it can actually target it? Yeah, probably not. So F-35 is that OP, right? Like, yeah, F-35 is coming after you. It's going to be a problem. It's like one of those games, I don't know. Rise of Nations, I think, remember that? I remember having that years ago. It came with a free disc with a Windows copy or something. I don't know, something like that. Because it was a Microsoft game. And I remember as soon as B2 bomber becomes a thing, no defense system will work, it will just destroy your shit. And it's like, shit, here comes a modern civilization. This is that level of thing.
With less than 9 defense sites to protect its borders. But how did the F-35s beat the seemingly impenetrable Russian defense system? For starters, the Lockheed Martin F-35 Lightning II, the main version of the F-35 used by Israel against Iran, is one of the most advanced jets on the planet. Not only because of its technical prowess, but its stealth and navigational abilities. It is a single jet with multi-role stealth abilities that, after a nearly 11-year development saga, finally reached initial operational capability in 2016. Despite all the hiccups along the way, the F-35 has proven to be the most advanced fighter aircraft in the world that will eventually become the mainstay of U.S. and their allies' combat aviation. because of the wide range of current and potential future customers, numbering around several dozen, each with unique needs and capabilities that need to be addressed. There are a few variants of the F-35 with slightly varying operational capabilities. For example, the F-35A is the primary variant operated by the U.S. Air Force that was built around conventional takeoffs on runways and has its 25mm cannon internally mounted to make it more aerodynamic for dogfights. Israel operates the F-35I variant that is specially modified to accept Israeli-made weapons, communication suites, data links, and radars, among other features. With the Israeli Air Force operating 40 of these jets and with plans to acquire 35 more, the Israelis are working hard to replace their other, older combat aircraft. But why is the F-35 so sought after? This jet is so technically ahead of its time that it can complete stealth missions and
I can see hint of real life lore like scripting there. That's interesting.
precise bombings with ease. This jet wasn't made to carry ground-penetrating bombs or big missiles. They're stealth bombers for that purpose. To help conduct stealth combat operations, the F-35 has 2 internal weapons bays, each with 2 weapon stations. That's why you don't see missiles hanging out on its wings. But when the situation calls for something more akin to a bull in a china shop, the F-35 can operate in what is called beast mode. In beast mode, stealth is sacrificed so that the 2 outboard weapon stations can carry ordnance up to 2,500.
Yeah, I wouldn't call that beast mode. It's like necessity mode or something, because I don't think nobody operating F-35 wants to do that. But if they have to, I guess we'll take our chances. Maybe we won't run across something that can lock into us because of this stealth compromise, but there you go.
Pounds, while the 2 inboard stations carry air-to-air missiles. The aircraft can use 6 external weapon stations for missions that do not require stealth. These weapon stations can carry large air-to-surface weapons that wouldn't fit inside the weapons bays, such as the AGM-158 Joint Air-to-Surface Standoff Missile, or JASSM, or the AGM-158C LRASM Cruise Missile. On the inside, the F-35's cockpit was designed to give the pilot exceptional situational awareness. The main display is a 20 by 8-inch panoramic touchscreen, which shows jet information and integrated caution and warnings. The cockpit also has a speech recognition system developed by Adacel. Think about it. An AI assistant built right into a fighter jet opens up a whole new world of opportunities for the F-35. As a pilot for this jet, you not only have a powerful, fast machine under your seat, but you have eyes in the sky, ears on the ground, and a whole load of defensive mechanisms in place to make sure you're not overwhelmed during an attack. Not only that, the avionics and sensor fusion are designed to improve the pilot's situational awareness as well as command and control capabilities. The AN/ASQ-239 Barracuda electronic warfare system and the Northrop Grumman Raytheon AN/AAQ-37 electro-optical distributed aperture system, or DAS, are just a couple of names of the classified number of mission systems installed in this jet. Thanks to these integrated advanced communication technologies, it can view and share data between different military units with ease, while staying up to date on its own surroundings.
Yeah, F-35 is insane, obviously. There was a question if F-22 can be upgraded at all, and so people are obviously like, yeah, F-35 is better because of that. F-22 might have better capabilities in the air, dogfighting, but when it comes to technology, radars, and like detection and everything, yeah, F-35 is untouchable. But even then, like F-22 is, getting upgraded. Maybe it can now, who knows. But F-35 is like untouchable at a level that they are putting Block 4 upgrades where it basically becomes 6th generation with the drones and everything, right? That's how good F-35 is. So yeah, it's basically untouchable when it comes to all the type of things it can do, from the radars and everything, connecting with the satellites, ground things. Basically, it can create this web of things that can just like, there's nothing that gets by this plane, and anything that is around it which it can communicate with. Everybody knows everything all the time.
The jet purposely received criticism from Elon Musk for its operational capabilities that were advertised to be unlike anything the world had seen at the time. And since it had not been battle-tested yet, there was no way to debunk this critique. However, the Israeli attack proved that Elon was wrong. Not only did the F-35
Yeah, I like Elon, but man, come on. I get it. You're doing, space shit and all that. But these are the companies who done shit in the past, right? A lot of companies are Northrop Grumman and like, yeah, these are the companies who done shit in the past where they've developed B2s and like, obviously with all the controversy, like they've done ridiculous shit with those things that no other country can even keep up with it. All the American equipments are so far ahead of everybody else because of the people who make it, right? So they're saying like we can do this. Maybe there will be a problem early on, but they will iron it out and eventually we'll get to it. Like there's many people, working between them, congressmen, military people who are checking on things. Nobody just says shit and like nobody checks on it like it's a lie. That's not going to happen. If they're claiming this because they've seen results in testing.
beat Iran's air defense, it did so without a loss and was mostly undetected at many sites. Even though the S-300s were aimed to defend against much older fighter jets like the F-16, their failure to intercept a previous airstrike conducted by Israel to destroy a missile depot deep inside Iran tells us volumes about the aging defense system. So, what is likely to happen next? Iran has lost its superior edge over Israel, especially with the recent loss of nearly all of its capable air defense systems. Iran's military...
They had superior edge against Israel. When did they have that? Maybe by numbers and shit because Iran is so big. But Israel was always backed by US and they always had the better technology. How the fuck Iran had an edge against Israel? I'm guessing by the numbers, that's what he's talking about. And absence of F-35s, they couldn't directly do anything about like this defense systems. Maybe there is that. But that's just by the numbers. It's like saying like Afghanistan always had the superior edge against USA because USA couldn't root out all the insurgent from the mountains or something. That's not that's like a logistics and like a, tactic issue rather than technological.
Units, installations, and strategic facilities are now sitting ducks for Israeli jets to pick on. With Russian preoccupation in the war in Ukraine, Putin has left Iran to fend for itself against the full might of Israel. Because of this, the October 2024 attack that knocked out the bulk of Iran's S-300 systems, along with weapons storage and production facilities, puts Iran into a proverbial pickle. This is because Iran now has to rely on even more outdated Soviet or homemade systems to protect Iranian airspace from increasingly greater numbers of F-35 fighter jets. With the Iranian military's inability to ensure their homeland is protected from Israeli counterstrikes, this will make the Ayatollah think twice about messing with Israel. So what does this mean for the future? Iran, nor their proxy forces at their direction, can strike Israel anymore with the massive missile and drone strikes we saw in 2024. From a strategic perspective, this is a big win for Israel and would likely mean that Iran has no other option but to back off and lick its wounds while they attempt to rebuild their air defenses. At the current rate, it would take years without direct Russian support. I mean, without Russian...
When it comes to all this shit, it's the people who are going to get screwed, right? Yeah, imagine all the destruction, all the kids, and everybody involved. Just thinking about that just makes me like, what the fuck? Because I've seen the videos like Factorism videos how America destroyed Iran's navy. Why did Iran pick a fight against America at all, right? And that's the problem. Whenever I hear about Iran, this is the case. It's like their ideology is so strong, they don't realize they don't have the technological edge and they still keep the fight on. And the common people, civilians, normal people, kids, everybody's get affected by this. It's like, come on, man. Right? If you don't have the edge, like back off, like try to make a deal or something. Don't go to a fight. That fight's not going to end well for you. And by you means common people who have nothing to do with this. It's always the people at the top who's making the decision, screws everything up. Right? Common civilians have no vote in this and they are the one who gets affected by this. It's just fucked up. Every time I see those footages of destroyed all the buildings and things, it's just like, what the fuck, man?
Russian help and the sale of Shahed drones to Russia to keep the war machine running, Iran will quickly run out of resources. Unlike Russia, it cannot manufacture its own defense equipment and long-range munitions. Western allies would likely be the most to benefit from this situation, as Iran has been their lifelong enemy. Let me tell you, this situation isn't going to end militarily for Iran. It would end with even more sanctions than this aspiring nuclear power country already has. Israel surely didn't pick a fight with Iran, but with Iran's air defense gone and Israel's far more superior long-range missile arsenal, Israel holds supreme over Iran now, and just like Gaza, it wouldn't take long for Iran's cities to crumble under a relentless Israeli offensive. That is, of course, if Iranian leadership continues with their offensive of launching drone attacks or supporting factions like Hezbollah and Hamas against Israel. But this will end badly for them. Because of Israel's complete domination.
Yeah, see, that's American politics also working there. People need to understand how many agencies are working at the global stage, like CIA and everyone. Like, we won't even know what they're planning, and I can already see that. They can't fight against Russia because that would mean World War III. So they are like trying to cut off supplies that might supply Russia. So Iran supplies Russia. So they're using Middle Eastern problems and like helping Israel way to attack Iran. So Iran doesn't help Russia. This is global politics working here, right? You can easily see that. So even if Trump said to Zelensky like all those shit, right? Obviously, America is also working in the background, so Russia doesn't get too much power, right? Because that might be bad for America. So a lot of global politics is working at that stage.
Over Iranian skies, Israel is basically keeping the Iranian military at arm's length and punching them repeatedly in the face while they flail their arms. In fact, with the skies over Iran now vulnerable, it is not out of the realm of possibility we could see an Israeli airstrike on Iranian nuclear facilities like they did to both Iraq and Syria. Bye for now.
Yeah, that just makes sense. Obviously, we saw this video is 3 weeks old. I'm guessing that Task and Purpose video I saw about Israel attacking facilities was one of the latest ones. So it happened after he made this video. So that's something. But yeah. Yeah, you know, like Iran's S-300 is like, I'm guessing, gone. And if they don't have anything to replace that, they need to think of more diplomatic solutions and still be, trying to go after Israel. Because in the end, like all the bombings and things will just hurt civilians. That's just fucked up, right? All the global politics happening, like I hope they realize what is happening there and how to approach it. But who knows? Right, well, that was how America's F-35 made Russia's air defense useless, but channel beyond military. If you like my next, don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you next time.